I'm William Nozak, and in this module, I'm covering aligning SEO with goals. So why set goals for SEO? Good content and a pretty website aren't enough. I mean, they're pillars. Content matters. What we write about matters. How we write about it matters. What value proposition we dig into that content matters for end users, attracting the right users. Having a website that serves in a proper time, looks good, doesn't serve too many things and have too many calls. All of this matters. Setting goals shows you how effective your content marketing strategy is. If we understand what we're trying to do with our content, are we trying to give content away so that people can come back and have us do the things for them that they can't do themselves? Or are we trying to give away PDFs? Or are we trying to just grow our impression loads? Or are we really just trying to get phone calls, directionals, have people click our direction or our map, or buy strictly from the website if we're some sort of e-commerce? We need to understand what we're trying to accomplish when we start to build out our website and our digital footprint. Allows you to know how to adapt and improve upon your strategy. If we don't know what we're trying to accomplish with the website, with the digital footprint, well, how do we improve upon the strategy? If we're winning for all of this content that really isn't leading to good people falling down the funnel or convertible traffic, then we don't know that we need to modify our strategy. At any given time, we should have an idea of how well the content's doing, how it's attracting convertible traffic, what that traffic's doing on our site, and is it producing more leads that convert into sales? All of this, very important to understand. And that's why we set goals for SEO. SEO, right? It's that content, it's that website, it's those social media profiles, it's that YouTube channel, it's that content on a podcast. It's really anything that can rank against a competitor in a search engine, not just Google. So it's going to help us to quantify objectives, right? We're going to put some type of measurability on it. You know, we don't really totally know what a search volume is across the year, but we get these metrics from these third-party tools. We can get these metrics from Google Keyword Planner, and we can see that there's these volumes of searchers searching for certain keywords, and then all those variants of that keyword. So we get this volume cloud of potential people looking for it. And then we have to ask ourselves, is that keyword cloud at the top of the funnel where people are just trying to learn about it and do different things? Is it muddy? Does it kind of mix in with other things in other industries that really are not connected to your company, your service, or your industry? And so we're really trying to figure this out. And so then once we figure out those keywords, and then we identify those that are somewhere in the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel, now we can objectify or quantify some of the data. Hey, how are we doing against these BOFU terms? How are we doing against these TOFU terms? And is it producing leads or convertible traffic that's producing some sort of lead or some type of action that we think might turn into a lead or a potential client? So SEO goals, increase traffic volume, right? You've got the whole world. And then you've got the potential people that are going to use your product or your service or someone else's product or service. And so then we've got the people that actually see us. So there's that impression load, and then that impression load goes to clicks, leads, and then there's a little conversion thing between there, leads to sales. And a lot of times that sales component is your company. How well is your sales team doing? So increasing traffic volume at the top, number one. Increasing lead volume. We're getting this larger impression load, right? We've got all of these data points piping into one large data point, and we can see our impression load is growing, our click load is growing, but is our lead load growing? And when that lead load grows, are we getting the same percentile into sales? Is it producing a smaller percentile, but we're getting sales? We kind of need to know these things. So we want to improve the lead quality, right? Leads are not the same. Facebook leads are frigid to cold, warm and hot. Google leads can be any type of cold, warm and hot. Word of mouth typically are going to be pretty hot. Ads are notoriously any temperature. Organic, same thing. So we're dealing with different types of temperature, different types of cold, but we want to continually work on lead quality, making sure that we're getting good leads, people that can afford our service, they're good fits. And once we find that good fit, once we're like, hey, this is the persona that we're really built to service, then we want more of those. We want more of those clients because they make our lives happier. They pay the bills, they help us to make a great net. At the same time, we're making their lives easier, they're making our lives easier. And then 4, increase customer volume. Certainly we always want to have a larger gross at the end of the day. You know, increase your sales is a big component of being a successful business. Or quality. And then order size, right? Of course, at the end of the day, if we have to reduce our costs, that's a reality. But for SEO goals, we're trying to increase our customer volume, the quality, and then the order size. So measuring targets. And in SEO, like anything else, it's all about measurement. And it's not the typical Google Analytics tools. You're looking at other third-party dashboards. You're looking at keywords in Google Search Console, volume targets, impression loads, click-through rates. There's a lot of things that we're seeing. How are we moving up the SERPs for something we feel like is convertible or something that we think is not convertible? I've done a lot of this in the past with my own agency. I've moved us up to local SEO targets and gained position 1 and never got a lead from them. And so then I moved myself back out of position 1 for those terms and moved myself up the SERPs, moved my business up the SERPs for other terms, and guess what? Leads started to pile in. So really, it's a hypothesis making, hypothesis breaking. It's the science method. It's part art, part science. We think that this great term is going to produce us some type of leads, but in the end, it doesn't. And so we don't give up. We iterate. We change our model, change our content, make H1s, slug changes, and we move those pages against other things until we find a lead generator, and then a high quality lead generator. So we're measuring sales. We're measuring leads. We're paying attention to the things we're changing, whether that be through Google annotation, whether that be some other type of annotation of what changes your technical SEO team is, you're making, your web development team is making content changes that your writers are asking you to make changes on certain pages. We want to measure all of these things with tools. At the end of the day, it's the easiest to measure leads and sales. Ensure entire team can give a connected answer on what short-term and long-term goals the business has. Right, you've got your marketing team, you've got your web developers, your advertisers, your social media people, your managers. You're going to have your software developers, your IT team. They're all going to be working on different things, and certainly we all want to be connected on what we're trying to accomplish in the short run. Are we trying to improve our impression load? Maybe the market leader is $1 billion company, but they've got 1% of the market because the majority of the market's fragmented. Very common. And so maybe we're trying to improve our impression load at the top of the funnel. So we might have this huge content campaign where we're writing tens of thousands of words and hundreds of pages a month. Or we might do an ad campaign that's supposed to give us some information on higher click-through rates and lower bounce-through rates so we can understand what people are looking for and how they're interfacing with those words, and then when they hit our page and our content or our resources, how they're doing. Are they converting into leads? This tells us if we have a content mismatch or maybe a voice mismatch. And so the whole team needs to know the short-term goal, and then the long term. Where are we trying to go in 3 and 5 years? Google's going to change in the next couple weeks. Search engines are changing in the next weeks. One of these days, Facebook, Google, and all these giants are going to get broke up. So it's all going to change. But what are we doing in the 3-year, in the 4-year, in the 5-year? Where is the ship really headed? And do we have a plan to change that direction? If we've got can't tell you how many times I've seen a website with 1,700 pages of garbage. Made no sense for that property. Certainly you need to understand where we're going in the long term. If we're trying to have a web page have 1,700 pages, there certainly needs to be a reason to have 1,700 pages out there. Does somebody understand where we're trying to go with that strategy? So we want to track KPIs. We can't track everything. It's impossible. The amount of digital data, it's overwhelming for everyone out there. So we have to understand what our key performance indicators are, such as site traffic, maybe impression loads. And then really a lot of your sales teams are gonna want to know hot, cold leads. How many hot leads are, right? Hot leads are like 3% of all leads. I mean, that's not the only bucket of leads. Like, we need someone thinking about that 97% of leads here. And what are we doing to warm them up? Do we have an automated email program warming them up so it's not consuming all of our sales team's time? Do we have processes in place to help with that? Conversion rates, from impression to click, from click to lead, from lead to sale, from sale to the bottom line. Do we have a pipeline? Do we have an understanding of the different components of the pipeline and how they're working together? From email marketing, social media, from content development, from website technical SEO, all the way to your ads and anything else you're doing, from networking to the amazing gift of word of mouth. So know how many customers are leaving reviews. You certainly have to understand your reviews. This is a litmus test. Are people reviewing you positively, leaving you 5-star reviews, leaving you 1-star reviews? Certainly you need to read them. and understand what the pain points are, what people say you're really good at. Maybe we're just not good at something, and the leads we're bringing in are exposing that. And we want to feed that back into our marketing team to say, look, these leads, they're not going to ever be good leads. We need to change direction with our marketing strategy. At the same time, we want to measure what people are saying about our competitors, what they say our competitors do well. Where do we get that info? We can't send our competitors a survey. We can look at their reviews. We can look at the 5 stars and the 1 stars and say, wow, they're really good at this. We also need to be good at this because clients value that, and they're really bad at this. They're really bad at this? Sweet, I'm gonna run ads over them and say we're really good at this. We have to understand these things so that we can really have a cohesive strategy, and that's us measuring things. We're gonna establish benchmarks. Here we are, here's where we think our competitor is. We can't get there without doing research. That's why we do a very extensive competitive intelligence report when clients have the budget, right? We can't do this for everyone. It takes 100 man hours to create, but you can do it for your company. We want to identify the best in the industry. Sometimes this stuff's hard to find. And really we're putting together slices of information from different software and creating our own picture to the best of our ability. And that's fine. As long as we're keeping information from one slice of a software and comparing that against another a competitor. We certainly don't want to compare one slice of data from one piece of software against another slice of data from another software about a competitor, because that is not apples and apples. That is apples and oranges, and it will only create confusion in your company. So we want to establish benchmarks and understand what software we're using to get those benchmarks. So identify those as best we can. Measure your digital traction against them. How are we doing? How are our impression loads? What does Google Trends say? What does Google Keyword Planner say in regard to a whole year of impression loads? And how many impression loads are we getting at the local? And how many impression loads if we're trying to rank at the regional? And we need to understand these keywords at the local, the regional, and the national. If we're selling something nationally, what percentage of that do we have? Certainly it's going to be a microscopic amount, but how do we grow that? How do we grow from here? This is establishing benchmarks. Tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, they're going to help you understand keywords. If we're talking about SEO, then it's about keywords, right? It's about ranking against search queries. We're not creating a need. That's branding, right? That's marketing. I'm creating a need. I create a term and then you go around and look for it and see who's ranking for that and you learn about it and you search it. That's creating need. In SEO, we're looking at the needs that are already there, the keywords and the queries that are already in the space, and we're trying to rank up against that, right? So this guy's in number 1, I'm trying to get to number 2. I'm trying to get to number 3 so I can pick off number 2. And that's looking what's there and modeling our content and our whole digital footprint or our digital property against that beachhead, that set of keywords or that query cloud. And really we're gonna have different chunks on our website going at different query clouds. And so we have to understand what those query clouds are, what those keyword targets are, if we think they're at the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, if we think they can convert. You remember my story? I thought a local SEO term would convert in a city. It did not. So we set these benchmarks and then we understand, is it changing our lead volume? Is our lead lever for SEO increasing, decreasing, staying the same? Iterate, iterate, iterate. We have to have a benchmark and understanding where we are, where we're going. When we got there, did it change something? Where else do we need to go? And so compile this data, right? You've got Data Studio, which is like a Tableau. It allows you to pipe in data from different sources. And then it even allows you to aggregate that data to see an overarching picture of multiple data points. And so we want to have multiple data points. We want to understand our impression load, click load, lead load, sales load from SEO. And how do we get there? Really, your salespeople have to ask the question. How did you hear about us? How did you find us? If they're not getting hit with a source code of some sort that tells us right away how they found us, then we have to ask the question. And regardless, in most industries, there's going to be a data dropout where you need to ask anyway. Did you find us in Google? Did you find us? Do you remember where you find us? Do you remember what you searched? Sweet. That's going to get us the information we need to establish some benchmarks and improve against that. Conversion rates. We want to track key conversion rates. Everything is not key. Every conversion rate is not something that you need to keep your eye on. And depending upon the different people you work with, from a web developer, from an advertiser, to a marketing manager, to a CMO, to a CEO, we're presenting this data differently because they want this information for their needs so that they can make decisions. So we really could have multiple data sets set up for different people. We certainly wouldn't show the CEO the same information we would show the social media marketer, right? Maybe we're gonna show a certain set of information. You can get this in Google Analytics. You can get dashboards that are really targeted to certain people. So product landing pages, click to leads, service landing pages. If you have to answer to a sales manager, these are types of things that you really need to understand what your conversion rates were. They're typically low on a website, right? You're looking at 1 to 2% from clicks to leads, and the more robust your content strategy is, and the more disconnected your content is, the higher your impression click loads might be, and the lower your click to lead rates may be. Notoriously, they're all pretty low. In some industries we've been in, they're pretty high, shockingly. We can see clicks to leads to sale anywhere from 30, 40, 50%, but that's an anomaly. You really need to focus on the large group of people and then really fashioning your story and your strategy and your value proposition so that we can say, hey, here's really our persona. Here's our demographic. Here's the psychographics that buys our product, can afford our product, likes us, we like them, and we can grow our business upon these groups of people. So ensure every site page has a purpose. Now, right, not every page has a purpose. We might put those pages in our robots.txt. Those pages might just solely be for advertising or solely have functions that should not rank in SEO. But everything that's on a website is gonna have a purpose, from the sitemap and the footer, right? That's an HTML page where someone might go look and see all the important pages or get to something very easily. Usually a very utilitarian page, not super SEO friendly or hungry, but it has a purpose. Anything in our main nav certainly should have a purpose, from converting, getting people into another piece of a software, getting people down the funnel on our website so that they can consume more content, buy from us, learn more about our service, download some PDFs or something that we know that a potential buyer is first going to download. We certainly want to make sure our website makes sense and keeps people going down a straight line funnel. We don't want them popping over into different funnels, and we really want to try to keep it as clean as we can. So retool conversion rates when needed to optimize conversion potential. Once we've got a set of KPI, those KPI are not locked in stone. What you're going to find out is those KPI that got us here are not the KPI that get us to the next place. And it's always going to be true. Your KPIs are always moving. When our needs in our website quality changes and we learn more about our leads, we may find that an old KPI is no longer needed, or maybe a new KPI is needed. So you want to stay mobile and nimble with those. But certainly we want to start with something like benchmark some KPI on what people typically use in a space. And so increase traffic volume, right? This is not letting things go. This is at the top of the funnel where people are learning. This is in the middle of the funnel when they start to see who they might buy from, or who they're learning provides a service in the space. And this is the bottom of the funnel when people are ready to make a purchase. So we want to make sure that our volumes are increasing and it looks like a funnel. That's why we call it a funnel. Top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. The volumes get smaller as people travel down towards conversion. And that's why it's highly competitive at the BOFU, right? Because people already know this is a BOFU keyword. People are searching this when they're ready to buy. That's why there's competitive ads there. That's why ad set prices change, not because Google's saying I want to charge you this, or Facebook's saying I want to charge you this, because it's changed by market forces. Market forces change those prices. Your competitors are willing to pay those prices, and they're saying, if I pay this price, I typically get enough good clicks that turn into leads. And if they're paying them, that means they're turning into leads, and that's probably why they're high, because people don't continually pay for clicks that don't turn into good leads and sales. And so it's market driven there. So increase lead volume. So we want to get customers onto the site, obviously, or onto our social media profiles, or onto something that is built to convert people. And that's, of course, the first step, right? We want to establish this footprint so that we can catch potential searchers. But then the next step is to ensure they stay, become a quality lead. What content are we giving away? What value are we adding to them so that they know they can come to our site, they know they can trust future blog posts, they know they can trust us as an expert in the field, and then eventually they can trust our services or our product. And so improving your lead quality, this is making sure that our SEO strategy makes sense from the content we're writing, from the content strategy, all the way down to the UI, UX on the website, making sure that we're working on CRO, we're changing conversion rates, we're making sure we're pushing high quality leads onto our forms. If we have to vet people on forms, adding a couple extra fields. If we have to vet people so that we're not overrunning our sales team with low quality leads, or maybe that's your model, but in most cases we have limited time for our salespeople, so we're trying to vet leads as hard as we can, but not too hard where we gate it and lose some potential leads. So we're always doing things to try to improve our lead quality. It starts with your content strategy, your value proposition, your positioning, the way you talk about the product, etc. And then increase your customer volume, quality, and order size. Everything in SEO, SEO can't do everything for you at the end of the day. You need a quality sales team. So really, if you're a part of an agency, or you're a marketing team inside of a company that works with an SEO company, or you're the SEO company for your team, there's only so much that we can do. A lot of it falls in the hands of the sales team. What processes they have? How are they going about converting leads? Are they following up with the 97% of leads that are not piping hot, that are warm and cold and very cold? So this is really understanding that SEO is limited. It's like anything else. SEO is not the most scalable thing like ads. I turn on my ads and I can get my lead flow going. I can turn it up more. I can get the lead flow going. Somewhere I shouldn't be able to. There should be a limit somewhere where I could spend a certain amount, doesn't produce more leads. But the SEO it's different, because I can't control how many people go and search keywords any given month, any given time. Like COVID, if you looked at your traffic in COVID, a lot of people stopped searching for your service or product. You couldn't control that. You're like, hey, we're going down. Yeah, but your position's staying the same. It's because people are no longer searching for those things right now. So it's not something we can necessarily control. It is something that we want to work on it all the time, because if something trended upward, we want to be positioned to catch that stuff. And this is where we have to work and rely on the sales team. The sales team really needs to be doing their part in regard to qualifying, having auto-generated email programs to warm up cold leads, have new onboarding training for the new clients so that they fall in love with us, and so they become vision catchers and vision casters. And so we really want them to help us move that word of mouth thing going on. We want these sales that we do get to turn into lifetime value clients that are like, all the N years that they should stay +1 or +2, or typically in the space, people stay with our types of companies for 3 or 4 years. Well, in our company, they stay for 4 + 1 or 4 + 2. This is all the sales team and the processes we set in place there. These marketing teams, they're so varied. They have different things that they think about. That's why we want to understand our short-term goals together, our long-term goals. We want to have benchmarks. We understand where we're going in the future and what we're trying to do. Certainly at every stage of the way, we need to have some leads coming in and some sales so that people don't get discouraged. The people that are paying for this don't get discouraged. And that's why we want to have data so we can present the moving of the needle, right? We want to track the moving of the needle so that people don't get discouraged, especially when they're spending lots and lots of money and maybe not seeing any value or return on that investment just yet. Because a lot of this SEO has a long runway, right? Some things have a short runway. Ads have a short runway. I pop them on and right away the plane should lift off. With SEO, there could be a long runway. And then depending upon your competition, there could be a very, very long runway. And so we really have to give data along the way, have people on the same team. And that's aligning SEO with goals. If you need to, go back and watch that module. If not, I'll see you in the next module.